Last time on Phoenix Wright, we were able to prove that Yanni Yogi was the one to shoot Robert Hammond, and we got Edgeworth a not guilty verdict. However, his guilty conscience couldn't just let him walk away, and he pleaded guilty for the murder in the DL6 incident. The very incident that happened 15 years ago. So, things almost looked like they were going well. And then they stopped going well. I know Juvie's harsh, but I just can't live with myself if I'm not punished. Excuse me, I'm trying to have a eureka moment here. I'm looking through the evidence and I'm dramatically going to look at it, and then nobody will say anything of what I've actually found, but I'll have noticed the thing that we'll need in order to win the day. It's a very important process, you see. Alright, I'm done. Okay, I will admit that's like the coolest scene. Everyone's freaking out and Phoenix is just looking over the court record like, okay, yep, I'm getting prepared. Not all hope is lost because I'm Phoenix Wright. Now if you'll excuse me, I've got to go point at Von Karma and shout objection. A lot. Can you see the truth? I guess I'm trying to point to you, the viewer, but I really can't do that in any way. Alright, here we go. One last trial. Heaven or hell, let's rock. And I've also got lunch, so if we could hurry this up. Nope, let's get on with it. Bring it on, Von Karma. He is quite well aware, and he's also quite confident as well, meaning he probably knows something. Of course, we don't know what he knows, but he wouldn't go to all this effort to get Edgeworth in court and to get him to admit his guilt and steal the DL6 incident if he didn't figure something out himself. So first I want to say thanks a lot for killing the guy who embarrassed me. You're tearing me apart, Gregory! Well, that's pretty succinct. Yeesh. That must have been boring and terrifying. Never thought you'd see Edgeworth on the witness stand, did you? But here he is. We gotta cross-examine him. So, what did Phoenix notice? Well, if you think back to the court record, we did actually see a bit of information that conflicts a little bit with his testimony. It's not something huge, but it might very well be what we need. It's not this part, if that wasn't obvious. Alright, give me the details. How bad was it? Are you telling me that God gave you a gun? You know, something about that phrasing seems a little familiar, as does this. It's like we've seen this recently. Yes, let me describe this scream right now. Right, so, know how he says a single gunshot? About that. Von Karma, I know this is going to annoy you, but I got a little bit of evidence for you. I ended up back at the Pokemon Center, and that was that. Lost half my money, too. Could you just let me steal that file already, Phoenix? Yes, gotta find the exact page. Coincidentally, I believe this is the only page we haven't used yet. I mean, come on, I can't be the first person to notice this detail, right? I mean, wouldn't somebody know if it were shot beforehand? Well, actually, I may very well. Well, I've got another bit of evidence that I can't believe nobody's actually noticed just yet, but here's the incident photo. You've probably noticed something about this by now. Something a little off. And quite frankly, it kinda stares you right in the face when you first get this photo. Nobody else sees this? Oh, come on. I mean, I know it's doing this to prevent me from just displaying evidence willy-nilly, but come on, do I have to point out everything myself? Right here. Alright, I said in conclusion, that means we're done. Take that, Von Karma. Please don't ask me who the murderer is. Oh man, he's turning the tables on me! I mean, I think the shot elevator door should have counted as a clue, so, technically speaking, I'm pretty sure I can plead incompetence on the part of whoever was investigating at the time. There's never been a second bullet. It always goes 1 bullet, 3 bullet, 4 bullet, 5 bullet. Maybe it was just a shitty elevator all along, and that was there beforehand. Somebody threw a pencil really hard at the elevator at one point, and they just never got around to fixing it. I mean, they overlooked the elevator door. Oh, shut up. Damn it, we were so close. No, we were on to something. There has to be something else, but we just don't really have the leverage we need for this. I'm sorry, Maya, but it looks like the miracle never happened. I mean, I thought just because some idiot missed the elevator door, that means I could solve it myself, but guess that was kind of assuming a lot. You know, there's actually a time interest rate on juvie, so you're going to be in there for a long time. Except worse. Well, I guess in the end, I really can't say we can't object. It's a work in progress. You'll really appreciate it when we're done. Well, P measured the trajectory. About that. Thinking here, give me a minute. I gotta have a conversation with ghosts real quick. Alright, Phoenix. You gotta perform the best guesswork you ever have. Which'll be pretty impressive, because you've done some pretty good guesswork. Wait, what? Well, yeah, actually. Well, not fatally, probably. Is there? Is there really? Well, yeah, 'cause neither of them were shot. I mean, it only makes sense. I mean, there was that hole in the elevator. I'm not even a murderer yet. See, this is the part where I'm a murderer. Alright, who's getting shot? Oh, somebody's adamant about that. No one has ever murdered, and no one shall ever murder. The concept is null and void. Well, it can't be worse than what Phoenix has said so far. Lay it on. But instead, because of a shot. Hoo boy. Well, if he could have drop-kicked me from over there, he probably would have by that point, so I don't think we're going to be threatened by violence. Well, no other time to say it. I didn't object earlier, but damn it, we're going through with this now. VVVVVVV? The hit indie game? is one place it could be. Von Karma's thorough. However, he's not perfect. After all, there is one thing he couldn't possibly expect. My metal detector is with me all the time. Been under this table the whole time. It means we brandish a metal detector at him and hope for the best. Oh god, that sound is still terrible. Damn it! And that's perfectly believable. I can totally see someone wanting to shoot Von Karma. Well, yeah, obviously. Because I stole all of it. Actually, now that you mention that, you say we don't have proof, because of course you took it all, but unfortunately, you missed a spot. Alright, one last piece of proof. Looks like Von Karma's going out in a bang. I mean, it's a bullet, but you get the joke. he's actually pointing in the right direction this time. Yeesh. He has to be in control even when he loses. What a jerk. And I just drew a line from the start, straight through all the walls, to the end. Whew, thank goodness we had some extra victory confetti prepared. Wouldn't want to run out of that, would we? Yeah, that's probably from blood loss. He also crushed his skull, which was also my fault in the way, but still, I think most of the fault was the head bashing in that case. Well, I wouldn't say it's a good memory. Let's not remember Von Karma. Ever. don't think dinner should be on you with your salary. Yeah, don't. Let's have Edgeworth pay. I think he is the only one in this room with actual money. Unless one of you guards actually makes a pretty good wage. Never do that again. That was scary. I don't think Edgeworth eats cookies. You were counting on Edgeworth not recognizing you, weren't you? Oh, Larry, I remember. Oh, dear. This seems familiar. Yeah, this seems unpleasantly familiar. Does she have any spare clocks I can use to prove that you're in a good relationship, or what? With the amount of money he makes, it might be a close equivalent. Ah, cool. So you can go out and buy stuff. $38? That sounds familiar. My God, the true mastermind! Who goes to school when they're bored? Oh, don't tell me. Yes, we are well aware of that one. It turns out I'm actually at fault for all your childhood trauma. There's no statute of limitations on class trials. They're forever. To think we defended you in the first case. Phoenix Wright, ace prosecutor, and possibly executioner. Alright, I'll clean up the class trial then. Larry, you're going back in the defendant's booth. Isn't it only like in the morning? Aren't we going out for lunch? Guess I haven't been paying that much attention to the times. Oof. And as per usual, paperwork is rough. Can't even go out for your own celebration. That bites. I drank enough for me and Edgeworth. Always go back to sleep at 5 a.m. Oh, are we going to get $38 now? Oh, it must be one of those voice memos, but in letter form. Oh no, not the Neo-Californian mountains! We'll never hike up those! In a timely manner. Thank goodness you missed the first few trains. Those always leave way too early and then you have to wait like an hour before the next one goes. Ah! That sound is horrible. Is that what all Japanese, Neo-Californian trains sound like? Because that is an awful sound. At At last! The game finally acknowledges that we're not a novice attorney. We're an ace attorney. I'm so glad they used the phrase, crazy cast of characters to describe themselves. Just completely unironically. And so, we've reached the end of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. To be completely honest, this is still my favorite game in the series. It's got the best soundtrack for sure, and honestly, I think it's got the best story as well. Please don't do that, Edgeworth. Thanks a lot. That's great to hear. You don't say. But honestly, the story itself is actually really good. No other Phoenix Wright game is really as connected as this one, I want to say, because every case is important to an overall arc. Other games, like, there's no real huge story. Well, okay, that's more for the second game. There is a story and an overarching arc for the third game, but honestly, I don't really like it nearly as much as this one, because quite frankly, I feel this one is the strongest. Thanks for your input, Payne. You were... yeah, yeah, good for you. You just keep on doing what you're doing, Payne. I mean, you wouldn't have gotten where you are in life if you didn't do that. Anyway, every case in this game is actually important to the overall plot, even Case 3 to an extent. Although in that case, it's more so just the end of that case where Edgeworth suddenly decides that rather than try to stick up for the person he's finally realized is a criminal, he's actually going to join alongside you and take her down as well. None of the other third cases in the series really do that. I mean, third cases are generally kind of infamous in the series for being bad. Steel Samurai is probably one of the better ones. Again, it's longer than it really needs to be, like pretty much every other third case. The third game doesn't do this, but they're mostly just there to introduce having cases that go on for 4 days. But other than that, they're not that relevant. Again, it's only the end, but Steel Samurai is actually still important. But overall, it's the story of Phoenix, and he's become a defense attorney in order to meet his friend again, and then subsequently save his friend. And it's all just incredibly well done, because it's all about Phoenix and Edgeworth, and because it actually has that sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not scope. I guess, just an overall goal? Because no other Phoenix Wright game quite does that. 2 is very aimless. 3, it's mostly about a different character who I don't find nearly as interesting as Phoenix or Edgeworth, and I don't like his plot that much. But it's definitely better than 2, but still, I think that 1 is the strongest overall. And of course, I guess Larry's also in there, you know. It does actually make sense in the end. Everything is connected together, and that includes Larry. You wouldn't think he's so important from the first case, but yeah, he was partially the reason that Phoenix became a defense attorney, and what a coincidence, he's also the first person you have to defend, despite the fact that he's a dirty money stealer. But other than that, he's not a terrible dude, and like Edgeworth, he's also responsible for Phoenix being what he is. The only thing I can think of that isn't quite as good as the later games is probably the animation, and, you know, that's really only because it's the first game in the series. Not because it's bad, just because of other reasons. I've only played through the first case in Apollo Justice. I really want to get to the rest of the game, because I actually liked it, but I actually really like the animations in that game, because if I haven't mentioned it, original Phoenix Wright was on the Game Boy Advance. It just wasn't released in the US until the DS version. Apollo Justice, that's the first game that they actually make use of the DS functionality. Oh wait, I've neglected to mention one thing. The DS version added one more case. Next time on Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, we start the fifth and final case, Rise from the Ashes.